All right. 3, 2, 1. Do, 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 do. Anyway.
Wow. Hello, and welcome
Hello.
back to Your Take is Excrement, a show that we took a month off of.
Yes. So I'm going to rattle off the list of things that were preventing us from doing episodes, and I am incredibly sorry.
There's a lot of stuff.
It wasn't a let's be lazy. It was a holy fuck, I don't have time to sleep month. So at least on my side, I was out of town for the entire time, and I was staying at hotels on army bases. And fun fact about hotels on army bases, shitty fucking internet.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't surprise me. They don't want the people hanging out there looking at porn.
I spent 36 hours downloading Shadow of War.
That's a long time.
So and it's been hell. It's been rough, but we're here now.
We are here now. Yeah, and I've also had a shitload going on. I mean, between touring stuff and working on collaboration stuff with people, and also just life. It's hard to just find an hour in a week and just sit down sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but this is us kind of being like, hello, my friends. This is real.
This is real.
We are back.
We're back.
And we are going to be doing this weekly again.
Yes. And I should be in town for the foreseeable future. And anywhere they could possibly send me that we still have contracts with are civilized places that will have good internet connection. Or worst case scenario, you'll catch Your Take is Excrement from a public library.
Head on down to your public library
down.
and give a listen to Your Take is Excrement, the worst show on not television.
So this week's episode is on Come and See. But before we get into
Come and see these nuts. Ha! Oh, shit. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gay. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so before we get in, I also want to say we're still trying to get back into the flow of things, and we just weren't able to get the video going.
Yeah.
For this episode, we did have a lot of fun streaming this and having a video component. So we will have that back up and running as quickly as we can.
We're trying to get it so that it's just like an automatic thing where it's already set up and we can just pop into the studio, do the thing, and then hop out. Yeah. So once we got that to a place where everything is just like perfectly comfortable, then yeah, you're going to be seeing the visual component of this a lot more. But yeah, okay. Does that cover most of
that? Covers just about everything.
Okay.
The other thing I want to speak into existence before the episode, and it's the reason I am drunk right now. Immediately after work, it wasn't a mistake.
An intentional drunk.
It was intentional.
It's okay. I'm drunk most of the time.
I needed the power of whiskey, and let me tell you what, it is powerful.
It is powerful.
So, I am trans.
What?
What?
Who's she?
Yeah, I've been out to friends and socially for a while.
Yeah.
I on Friday was at the Goodbye Cat. It did not like the wind.
On Friday, you were at?
I was at Planned Parenthood getting my blood drawn and the girl pills. And so the thing.
Let me tell you, it's been kind of weird keeping that secret.
Yeah. So my name is now Maya.
Yeah. So we're going Maya now.
We're going Maya.
Don't fuck it up or I'll kill you.
Yeah. And so May asked me this before the podcast, and I was like, well, why don't I just make my shitty afternoon content and let the people hear?
Yeah. What if I take this and make it content? Anyway,
yeah.
So tell me all about it.
Last night I was like, I'm gonna do a coming out trial run. So I called my sister, who asked 2 clarifying questions and then has ghosted me for the last 24 hours.
Let's go. Yeah.
So I spent all of work fucked up about it.
You should just send her an emoji of a little ghost, just in text message.
Well, so then I came home. I drank a bunch of whiskey, and I like 20 minutes ago, dropped my coming out letter in the family group chat and turned off my phone. And then I muted my dad on Discord because he's a friend.
Yeah.
He's my friend at Discord. So as we speak, I would assume that there are many calls in vain coming through my turned off phone. So that's about how my day's been.
Well, so are you kind of the mind that, so you did send this?
Yes.
You were looking at it and you were like, send it.
Well,
bam.
Last night after my sister ghosted me, I was like, well, like she was my trial run because I felt like she would be the most supportive, and if she's like, I am out, like this just isn't gonna go well, and
might as well just accept that.
The like her calling my mom and letting my mom know
before get a chance to,
I get a chance to, would piss the hell out of me. So I was like, all right, well, I'm on a deadline, so I'm just gonna like drink a bunch of whiskey and pull the trigger.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've all been there. Apparently my life is now watching content of people drinking whiskey and then pulling the trigger. So I know all about this, actually.
Yeah. So
wow. Does that mean they're not going to listen to the podcast anymore? Guys, I'm going to miss you. Y'all had the best opinions.
I don't know. We'll see what'll happen.
All right.
I unfortunately will have to turn my phone on eventually and
and when you do, oh boy, oh boy. Well, so it's also equally possible, you should know, that while they may not be super, kosher with everything, they might not be harassing you.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Well, listen, so I'll just open up. We're here. So when I came out to, I'm how do I say this? I'm also a transgender. I know that is a surprise to you at home. Anyway, when I quote unquote came out, I came home from a lovely day. And I found my mom like sitting at the table, and she was like, I found all of your secrets. And I was like, oh, good. Well, I'm going to go slit my wrists. But no, she sat me down and drilled me for like 2 hours about how I could not do that, and that would damage the family, and yada yada yada, and that she would never accept me, and she screamed at me like a whole lot, and I never even got to say the words, yeah, I'm transgender. Like, I never got to come out to her. She forced me out and then screamed at me. So like, this is not a how do I say, this is not a uncommon experience in the United States.
I'm glad to say I'm doing a bit better than that, but I saw this meme.
You at least got to get ahead of it.
Yeah, I saw this meme that I was thinking about on the way home, listening to Chapo Trap House about eco-terrorism, and it's like a screenshot from, who's that, the animated Lord of the Rings guy that Dan Olsen did a video on?
Ralph Bakshi.
Yeah, it's like Bakchi's Aragorn talking to Frodo, and he's like. And Frodo's like, but what if there's no hope? And Aragorn's like, then we will have revenge.
So are you in the revenge stage?
I'm not in revenge, but it's like, if there's no dream of hope, then I will dream of revenge. So it's like, yeah, my trial run didn't go well, so I will burn it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like, if this won't be hopeful, this will be vengeful.
Yeah.
So instead of like, I hope this goes well, I'm like, I will burn this family down.
Well, and I think coming out is a very powerful moment, because it's literally the moment where you're like, I'm gonna stop beating myself up and start beating them up. Fuck you, but you don't want it to come across like, you want to be sweet about it. But then like, after they reject you, which almost inevitably always happens, you have a tendency to be like, okay, well, now I live in spite of this.
Yeah. Well, and May read my letter before I sent it.
I in fact did. I did.
And one of my big arguments was, you can either love the concept of dead name, or you can like love who that
you actually
are, who that became, and who I am. So it's like, yeah, if like if it's up to them and whatever choice they want to make with that. So anyway, not to harp on about this.
Yeah.
Just a big old moment in my life.
Yeah. So everybody say congratulations and fill the comment section with cum. Wow. So now let me get this straight. So now we're supposed to talk about a war movie, even though this is going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we like to thank our sponsors, Machine Age Productions and their RPG #iHunt, and also Ambient Dream Studio. It's an Essie store.
Thank you for enabling this queer fucking crap. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for this. This podcast is now double the queer.
Yeah. Two. It's a lady podcast now. So dudes who were like, I feel represented. Congratulations, you lose.
Well, it's funny because I haven't been out as trans at work, but I've been out as queer at work for a while because someone like my 4th week working there was like, only steers and queers come out of Texas, and I was like.
Bingo, dude.
Bingo, motherfucker.
You got it. Nailed it in one.
I don't have horns, you dumbass. Anyway, so, all right. The movie Come and See. So,
come and see these nuts.
So I watched it when I was in New York, and my initial thought was, I don't want to talk about this movie on a podcast. B, I don't know why anyone would want my or May's opinions on this movie in a podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
And C, I thought I was going to make it through without crying after the midpoint, and then I broke down and wept.
Was wrong.
Was incredibly wrong. So, but then after I decided, I was like, well, I'm going to explain to everyone who really wanted to come and see episode why I disagree with their judgment. I watched the dipshit who inspired the season of Sigma's takes on Come and See.
Yeah, okay, so what's homeboy's name? Kino?
No.
I don't give a fuck. No. I don't care. Let's talk about it. This is where I'm at now, where it's like, we're not starting beef. We're just talking about the arguments as they are.
Don't go interact with this dipshit.
Oh, no. No, definitely don't.
Do not go interact with him on Twitter, on YouTube, nothing.
Okay, but
I would put on boxing gloves and fight him, but no one else do anything. I am just incredibly annoyed at him in general.
Yeah, so there's a specific kind of guy, and I don't know, let's call him a Sigma male.
Yeah.
No, there's a specific kind of guy that gets out of film school and has like, I've seen the 10% of movies that most people haven't seen. But that doesn't necessarily know, like, that doesn't indicate in any sort of way that they know how to think.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and I'm not saying that there's like a right or wrong way to think, but there is. And media literacy is a very important thing.
Yeah. How do you make it out of film school without understanding how to like...
Yeah. Well, so what is the purpose of a film YouTube channel? Okay, I of course have opinions on this as a film person who's been doing this for 10 years. My opinion is that a YouTube channel is about encouraging media literacy. It's not necessarily about trying to represent yourself in any sort of way. It's not an egoist activity. It's very like, I'm trying to give the tools away for free that I had to pay $40,000 for.
Right.
So like, cause like, fuck film school, big hot take. And also I'm going to say it, fuck college. I don't know. I've grown to disagree with a lot of the schooling that I was trained in. So, I mean, there's practical knowledge, which is good. And I could sit down and be like, here's what a microphone is. Like, but you hear my audio.
Yeah.
Clearly I don't know how a microphone works. But like, the point.
Listen, I'm an audio installation technician and I think it's magic.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't prove me wrong.
Literally just magic.
Just magic.
Yeah. So like my ideas about the way that this is supposed to be is that it's not really it's an act of self-removal. Even though it looks like an egoist thing, it's an act of self-removal. At least this is how I sleep at night. And so watching, I watched a video. I watched a couple videos. Not for this podcast, but I mean, I watched them and I'm here and I'm angry. So
Right.
let's go.
Yeah.
So I watched two things. I watched the Kino Corner video on Come and See.
Ah, damn it.
And it made me cum in my pants. No, I'm just kidding. That's funny though, right?
It made me come to his house with a gun.
Oh my God. Careful. Yeah, no, I mean, he's just got like these, there's this period in the halfway point of the movie or the video, sorry, where he like is, outside in military fatigues,
Yes.
and he's like, communism is very bad. Let me explain.
But he's doing the like 3x or the square.
Oh yeah, 4x3.
The 4x3 shot the film is filmed in. And
Every single possible
he's trying
thing.
to do the not blinking like hollowed stare at the camera and shitty fucking camo outside of his house.
But
and
the problem is he's not a very good actor or filmmaker. So you're just kind of like, what is happening?
Maybe he went to school for screenwriting.
I wouldn't you think that the writing would be more better?
No. Okay.
At that point?
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna say real quick about Mr. Kino. Let's check up on him in about 5 years and see if it's still Mr. Kino.
Yeah, it might be Mrs. Kino. You know what I mean?
Anyway, big
energy.
about to have a like
existential
crisis. shitty right centrist egg energy.
Yeah,
over there.
Well, and that's how I would describe it. It's like if it's right leaning, which is why I feel completely okay dunking on it, because like he doesn't realize, I don't think, that he's being extremely right wing, or maybe he does.
Well, I haven't even told you about his most frustrating right wing video.
He has a frustrating right wing video. Please elucidate this.
He did a video on Sallow.
Uh-oh,
spaghetti, yo.
So did I. Let's hear what he has to say.
So what he was trying to say is the neo-fascism that the movie was combating.
Yes.
So to recap, in case
is it awesome and great? Actually, is that what he's saying?
No. To recap our takes on Sallow, it was a movie that was
criticizing the active relationship of Italians with an old neo-fascism literally like
right. But the director was like seeing a rebirth, and he's like, "Fuck these guys! I'm gonna make a movie about how they ate shit."
Yeah, or how they're still around.
Yeah, they're still around and they eat shit, and how we haven't as
they'll make us eat shit.
As Italy, how we haven't dealt with this cultural problem.
Exactly.
So his take on Sallow was that it was less about fascism, about El Deuce. I always love it when people call Mussolini by the like name, the friendly name El Deuce.
Oh yeah, instead of
it's a good bit.
Yeah.
No, but he was like, it's about
El Douche.
It's about El Douche. He was like, it's about neo-fascism, and what the director thought neo-fascism is fast food and the globalists.
Yeah.
The globalist filmmakers. And it's like, the globalists.
Wait, does he actually?
Literally says globalist, like the globalists, and then he specifies like the globalist filmmakers. Like, for those of you who aren't in the know,
Alex,
whenever
Jones.
anyone on the planet says the globalists, that means the Jews.
The globalists.
So he's making a video about Sallow, saying Sallow is about how the director was anti-Semitic, and that was a good thing.
Right, which is it's like not what's being said.
No, it's like, hey, fascism is really fucking bad.
Yeah. Well, and so, you can. The thing is, like, Italy.
He was also like, yeah, they're all like, insert spicy word for gay people. Not a slur.
Did he say the faggot
word? No. Not
queer.
No. Sodomizers.
Sodomizers.
Yeah. Which was a very weird.
I would have used rapist, but I mean, okay, sodomizer.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Anyway,
let's not be too mean to people who commit sodomy.
That was like the all-time low for Mr. Kino. Kino. I can't remember his name.
I can't even. I don't even. I even misspell it when I type it.
The whiskey's taking hold of me. No, anyway, but like back to his takes on Come and See. Like a majority of his video was like, well, yeah, it was really fucked up that Nazis locked like villages and barns and burnt them alive. But like, and like literally, I'm not saying this as a take. Like his literal take was like, well, but the Soviets executed prisoners of war. It's like,
what does that have to do?
It's like executing prisoners of war is not ideal. It's not great. It's also not as bad as burning non-combatant women and children in a barn and like, raping them.
Yeah, innocent families, like, and then enjoying that.
There's a difference between those two evils.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're going to go off about Soviet evils, there's so much more you could pull.
Well, and the movie is taking place in Belarus during a very specific conflict.
Right. Like, and anyway, it's an incredibly frustrating, like, misreading of the movie because, like, so from what I've heard from the movie going in, I expected just a straight war is bad. Like, just full stop. Like, that was... Yeah. I expected that to be just the one and only theme of the movie. I was pleasantly surprised when there was a good deal of, like, biblical surrealism to it. I really enjoyed that. And then also the... how in the end, it was like, war is hell. War is the worst human experience. War dehumanizes children and turns them into adults when they're, like, 14. Like, war is... the worst thing humans have wrought on this planet, like modern industrial, mobile war is an evil hitherto unknown by man.
But it's a horrible necessity to get rid of people who burn villages of women and children alive.
But we have to fight the Nazis.
Yeah, like, exactly.
It is, and so I didn't expect that ending take of like. Of the main character, I can't remember his name, but he goes through the horrors of war. He is permanently scarred and tortured by what he's experienced and what has been done to him. And the ending conclusion is, I will continue to fight, but I must keep whatever humanity I have left.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's Come and See. I'll see you next week when we talk about Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a beautiful film.
As it is. Yes, I agree with you.
God, I just...
Kino Corner.
Kino Corner.
You want to meet him in the corner. You want to meet him in the Kino Corner. Sorry, two trans women have such violent urges. Anyway, it's fine.
These violent delights.
These violent delights. Oh my god. Well, so Come and See. But so I watched this other video on YouTube, and I'm going to make some sort of grand point about all this. So watch the Kino Corner video, and I crap my pants. and then I watched this video. I might have even talked about it on the podcast before, but it's been a while and I can't remember. But it was a video analyzing the movie Brain Damage.
Oh, yeah.
But it does it through the lens of quote unquote practical science. Now, if you don't know, Brain Damage is a movie made by Frank Henenlotter where a guy has like a puppet worm friend thing that gives him drugs in his brain and makes him go all, woo, I'm on drugs. And of course, there's like a big... Because it's Frank Henenlotter, people be fucking puppets. It's a fucking thing. So the movie is like real edgy and real shocking and real stupid, but it's a comedy and it has absolutely nothing to do with shit. So this guy was like, I've decided to simultaneously shit on the movie constantly without understanding that it's literally a joke, and also analyze it through the lens of pseudoscience and talk about how his like worm aliens planet must have been like this because of... I jumped out a window to my death. I was like, this video is the worst video on YouTube.
It's... Well, like, it's just... I watched half of it and I was like, I'm gonna all right, peace. Get out of I'm gonna leave this room. I cannot stand this. It's big, like Sargon of Akkad energy.
Yeah. Well, and so the person that was making me watch this stupid, fucking, absolutely abhorrent, gay ass, derogatory, shitty video, was when I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, this video garbage, actually. She was like, no, it's actually very good. And I was just like, is this how we're going to have this argument?
I queued up every Cinema Sins video after this.
Yeah, and this is entirely a goal to make May's brain explode. Yeah, no, so like, so I guess I wanted to say that I think YouTube was a mistake, and honestly, if it were down to me not having a career and YouTube being gone, I'd be okay with it. I'd be like, that's fine. Like, we lose out on, what do we lose out on? What's good on the YouTube.com?
Come and See is free on YouTube.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, that is pretty great.
Who's going to enforce the copyright? The Soviet Film Ministry?
Right. Well, and as we know, they're violent murderers, according to Kino Corner. So we need to be worried about what they might do to us for talking about their movie.
I'm just checking time.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. So it's hard to start talking about Come and See in any sort of capacity, but it is our most requested movie, and that's like worth mentioning.
Well,
people be requesting this shit daily out there.
So to circle back, I think I am willing to talk about this on a podcast because
if you don't, then the opinions you're going to hear about it are going to come from Kino Corner.
Yeah. I would rather y'all listen to me be drunk and stupid than Kino Corner be sober and extremely
and
stupid.
Impossible. Yeah.
And just not getting the point of the fucking film. It's like he's the kind of guy who'd be like, well, George Orwell hated communism. George Orwell hated all like George Orwell's 1984 was actually about communism. And I'm just going to ignore the fact that he fought in Spain with the communists against fascists.
Right, exactly.
Like, my man got on a boat to go kill fascists with communists, and people were like, well, George Orwell actually wasn't that frustrated with fascism. He was more about anti-communism.
Right, exactly.
It's like, I think he made it perfectly clear by the people he killed.
Well, and the spread of the idea that, like, okay, I was talking about this whole week. So for context, if you listen to our podcast but don't watch my YouTube channel, which please don't start, it is, I've been doing the Not Safe for Life iceberg, which is essentially a laundry list of, gore videos from the aughts that had a lot of shit to do with the way that people be thinking about stuff. And one of the big commonalities is they're always like, communism. This is what happens when communism, like, look at all these problems, and not realizing that, like, a lot of those problems were literally created by American capitalism in other countries, which has been like my big thing about communicating. It's like,
look at these like ultra right wing fundamentalist Catholic death squads in South and Latin America. This is what would happen if communism. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
They're like it's like jump to the School of the Americas, and the CIA is like, hey, you want to live American opulence and excess? You got to kill all the communists first.
Yeah, and not only kill them, but you have to kill them in the most unbelievably gruesome way, and then use the torture images as a technique to terrify the enemy so that they will stop being open about their beliefs and stop gathering. And so that's the big thing about the School of the Americas, is like the actual goal was, because there were a lot of communist revolutions in South America at the time, they were like, we're going to institute a thing where we can teach world leaders that are more or less unafraid of being violent, being really violent. We're going to teach them how to use that to prevent communists from gathering. And if they can isolate a communist, then they can deal with them. But in groups, they're afraid of them because that looks like war. It is war. I mean, there's been revolutions. So they're like, all right, guys, so we need to start not scaring the communists, but we need to fucking horrify them.
one of my favorite episodes of Behind the Bastards is about the School of the Americas, and Robert Evans gets really flustered. He's like, here's the audio of like American trained death troopers gunning down a like communist Catholic priest in his congregation. Just played the audio.
Yeah, and it's just like there it is.
It's like, as an American, your tax dollars bought this, and this is the receipt. Like here's the receipt of our government.
Yeah. Well, and like I'll open up. I am deeply influenced by Robert Evans. I think that he is a fantastic person. I don't know if he's a great person. Maybe, but I know that I like what he stands for. I like how he argues, and I like basically the route of his life. Mm-hmm. Also, he and I both lived in Denton, which is cool.
Yeah.
So there's like a bunch of shit like that. But no, so like I have been trying very hard to take this that he has done and not just copy paste it into my own content because it pretty much covers it. Mm-hmm. But that thing that you're referring to where it's like, here's the receipt. Mm-hmm. That is the one thing I've left out of my videos is like I never cut to the thing like at any point. But there's a part of me that's trying at least somewhat to find a somewhat damaged or mild version of something just so that I can be like, look, here it is. Here's literally them doing the thing in a way that isn't going to piss off my entire audience. But at the same time, I don't feel like people need to experience this, but I almost feel like as an American at this point, if you're going to be out here being fucking racist against South Americans because of their quote unquote violent tendencies, then like you should really see and hear the legacy of violence as it's been created by us.
See what destabilized each and every country that's having problems in South America.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 3 letters, and it's the CIA.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I was talking about the war on drugs, and a lot of people were saying that I was being conspiratorial because the war on drugs is good, actually, and police are fine, and the FBI is good.
Imagine being that dumb.
That's how I feel.
What's the fucking boot taste like?
That's what I've been asking.
Like,
you know?
like, can you
describe?
Can you taste the blood of children on the heel, or is it just leather?
Yeah, how's the sweat inside? So, like, no, I mean, I've been hearing this a lot where it's like May is very doing conspiracy theory shit now, and it's like it's not a conspiracy theory; it's on Wikipedia.
It's always incredible when it's like the DEA or the CIA is like, yeah, we super duper did this thing,
and then everybody's like, that sounds like a conspiracy.
Like leftists like it's really fucked up. The government did this, and then everyone else is like, oh, we don't know that they did that, and the CIA's like,
we did do that.
We absolutely did,
and we'll do it again.
Yeah, we absolutely did. Cardin crack to try to destabilize black communities, and everyone's like, who knows?
I don't know if they did that. Well, and I've heard this a lot where they're like, they didn't sell crack to the black community to destabilize them. How could they? How would they? And it's like, I know. It's wild, but it happened. Well, like, why are we pretending that it didn't? Because it's hard to believe.
Those the same people who will be like, you're being conspiratorial, will be like, well, yeah, and actually, Trump's the secret shadow president, and in 2 weeks they're gonna hang Biden.
And you're like, oh yeah, right, yeah. I'm being conspiratorial with my facts.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Fucking idiots.
Well, yeah, and I'm kind of like, I've watched a lot of videos where people are talking about these issues, because there's an uptick lately in people that are openly reviewing gore content in individuality on the internet. So they'll be like, hello, and today we're talking about Daisy's destruction, the most horrible child. And you're just like, dude, like, this is content to you?
Right. Well, like something that I thought about a lot and kind of have been wrestling with since like the start of the Ukraine shit is like, you know, obviously both countries have like incredibly massive propaganda arms.
Yeah, it's true.
And you like, and I'm like, I think that people should like have countries and should be allowed to like keep their countries, and I think that imperialism is bad actually.
Yeah, sovereignty is good. Generally.
Sovereignty is good. Imperialism is bad. I don't think like Ukraine's not perfect as a democracy. Like they have a lot of problems. But like anyway, so that being said, I'm not I am pro Ukrainian, but also like the fact that they have Nazis in their national. But with the
caveat that there's big problems.
It's not good versus evil. This isn't fucking Star Wars. We're not 12. Like
yeah, there's
it's like both sides have Nazi paramilitary groups fighting each other. That is like not ideal. But in terms of like the like grand narrative, let's go Ukraine. But I
mostly for the concept of sovereignty. It actually doesn't have anything to do with the country itself.
Yes.
I don't know any
like
Ukrainian people. And if I mean, everybody that people have come to me and been like, I'm in Ukraine and it's very scary. And I deeply understand that, you know, I mean, but I'm of the mind that the United States, while not being openly bombed by other countries or whatever, is currently under siege by the American right. I think that anybody who's pretending that isn't happening is full of shit. Like we are in this country currently under siege by the American right. Like they hold way too much power and sway. They've completely warped any concept of like a left-leaning person because a left-leaning person has to pander to them. And so there was this thing. Do you remember Gamergate? Do you know about Gamergate? Yeah. So during Gamergate, there was this, and I know everybody's going to be like, no, I want to believe it's different. But no, it is like this. When one person goes and commits an act of terror, may it be, you know, harassment, posting somebody's address, taking a picture outside their house, something like that. There can be people that are like, oh, I don't fuck with that, but I am part of this movement. They don't realize that they are actually benefiting from the actions of that person while attempting to not take responsibility for the ideas that led to that.
Right.
So, the same is very much true of this, where it's like people, don't want to take responsibility for the fact that the problem, like they don't want to take responsibility for being like for fucking a lot of people's lives up for hundreds of years, but they do benefit from the terrorism, like the right. They do benefit from this like constant terrorism that's going on now.
Right.
Well, so yeah, I mean, it's difficult because like the American right is incredible at like trying to dodge responsibility for literally the things they're benefiting from, but it could not be more worth saying that they are actively benefiting from the fact that we are under terrorist siege in this country by the American right, and it happens all the fucking time.
So to go back to the Ukraine thing though, I remember early on there was a video that I saw where a Russian troop transport helicopter got shot by a man-portable missile, and it like just blows up, but it's like visually cool because you see like the smoke, like the smoke stream from the man pad. You see like the helicopter, and you see like the smoke changes, and it's like just visually really interesting. And I was like, wow, that's neat. That's really cool. And then I was like, yeah, 30 fucking people just died.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just like that, just dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, Reddit like banned a lot of the shock gore subreddits, but then everyone's like great about just, oh, here's a video of a drone dropping a hand grenade on a bunch of Russians trying to like extract 2 wounded people. And everyone's like, yes. And it's like,
yeah, well, and
Jesus, well, like, and God damn, just like let them leave with their wounded. Fuck.
Yeah, like really, we're gonna film them before the bodies are even like.
Yeah, and you just, it's like, it's just really fucked up, and how it's like, you know, everyone's, you know, so it's like, it's weird that people draw the line where it's like, yeah, here's this horrific industrial accident, and someone getting like molten metal dropped on them, and that's horrible and fucked up. But then like, just being like, yes, whenever you see like,
on.
Well, then you see like a grenade being dropped on a bunch of wounded Russians trying to like retreat.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Like, fuck, what's the difference? You know?
Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know, I think it's just like the internet has just this really weird like disassociation with violent content where it's like, oh my gosh, it looks like it's in an action movie. Yes. Compared to like, oh, this is an industrial accident. This is horrible. But like people like are both dead. Like their existence has ceased. Like their life
families
has
are
been
grieving.
snuffed out.
Yeah.
And it's like, be it in war or an industrial accident, the fact that we are watching this because like modern life is so boring somehow that this is what we choose to do is like, I don't know, it's really fucked up. And I'm not trying to say anyone's wrong or anyone's like evil for doing anything, because like, yes, I
people have morbid curiosity.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily wrong to have morbid curiosity, but I believe this wholeheartedly, that it is wrong to have morbid curiosity, engage with morbid content, and not completely understand the impact of what you're seeing.
Right. That,
like, if you don't understand the situation that led to this and you're watching it out of context and just like snapping your fingers like, yes, then like you're literally just giving them everything they want, because the people that are using this kind of shit to get to people, you know, people don't see the act of filming an act of war as terrorism, but it's true, and it is.
Well, and also like, I know there are like these videos of like Ukrainian soldiers would like pick up the phones of dead Russians and call their families.
Yeah.
And that's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's super fucked up. Don't do that.
Like, yeah, and it's like everyone's like, wow, they're so nice, like letting the family know. And it's like, no. It's like, imagine if someone called, you get a phone call and it's like,
I just killed your
husband. Stay out of my country. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, have some empathy.
Yeah. Well, so there's this video where these paramilitary guys like catch these like 4 prisoners of war, and they're like, okay, well, behead that guy. So they behead the guy, and then there's like 3 of them, and the 3 guys are like, fuck, we're gonna get beheaded. And then they're like, okay, go ahead and hit these 2 guys. So they behead them, and then they hop to this last guy, and the last guy's like, look, like, I'll defect. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Whatever you want to know, I'll tell you. But honestly, you don't have to behead me. Like, there's not actually any functional reason to do it at this point. Like, you beheaded my friends because they held firm. I will not hold firm. Mm-hmm. I literally don't give a fucking shit. Just don't behead me, please. Because you don't actually need to. And I actually feel like I'm probably more valuable to y'all alive than dead. And the guys like that are doing the beheadings are like looking at each other, and they're just like, nah, and they behead him anyway. Well, and it's just like that in and of itself, right, is like such a representation of the cruelty of war.
Right. And it's to pull it back to come and see. That's what the the Indian scene is you have all the people who are like, yeah, we're not Germans. We were like conscripted into the German military. And then you have like the fucking, what is the Prussians? No, fucking
Belarusians.
No. It's no? the German ethnic group that's like all like,
Aryan?
No. Is it Prussian? It's in Crosses of Iron. The colonel was like this ethnic group.
Okay, like everybody in the comments is going to be like, I know what they're talking about, and I'm very smart. Listen, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I do. Okay? I'm just drunk, and I can't remember their name. But like, So then there's that. I want to say Bavarian, but that doesn't sound right.
Okay,
well, like Prussian or whatever. And continue. He's like, I'm Prussian, and fuck all of you. Like, you all deserve to die in camps. And so it's like, you know, and then they gun everyone down.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's summarizing it, but like, it's like, yeah, war is hell. Like, and it's incredibly fucked up that like, you know, it's fucked up. That's not like what we want it to be. Where it's like, oh, they surrendered. You know, time to treat them humanely and give them 3 meals a day, and like they can sit out until the war's over.
Right. Or they could just blow them away right now.
Yeah. Or
so they just blow them away.
We can just light you on fire and not worry about it.
Yeah. And
but yeah, So anyway, after reconnecting our tangent with the movie, let's jump to ads.
Oh, is it time?
It is time for ads.
Girls, I want to be pretty. Where can I go to be pretty? Wait, what if I lived in a fantasy world that wasn't real? Like in #iHunt, I bet I could be pretty over there.
Yeah, and I can be pretty and have exquisite makeup while slaying monsters.
Is that what you do in that world? That sounds cool.
That is, and you use an app on your phone to get contracts, and you get exploited by the system of capital to do dangerous menial part-time contracted labor.
All right, listen, are there gender clinics in this game?
I would assume so.
Probably. I want to be a werewolf that goes to a gender clinic.
How much HRT does a werewolf need when it's a full
lot
moon?
more than you. Yeah. So #iHunt, our friends Olivia and Philomena, we love them. Thank you for supporting us for so very long. Please go check out their tabletop.
Yes, go buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it, play it, consume it, be obsessed with it. Fight D&D nerds on Twitter about it.
Yeah. Milk your cat.
Milk your cat about it.
I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Carve #iHunt into a wall.
Into your arm like Slayer. #iHunt. I'm gonna do this.
You know what's also beautiful, May?
Nothing.
The lovely art at Ambient Dream Studio. It's an Etsy store.
I've never heard of this. Tell me more.
It's art. It's art on paper. It's art on clothes.
Ooh.
It's just
art. I like to be wearing clothes.
I half the time. But
yeah, that's fair. Pants are a joke and a nightmare.
When I do wear pants, I like to wear pants that look neat. Ignore the pants, the work pants I didn't take off from today.
Does Ambient Dream Studios make pants?
They make yoga pants.
I actually might need to buy those because
Listen,
American yoga is the stupidest thing in the world, but I like a pant.
If you're gonna trip, you might as well trip wearing lower wear that you can sit and look at the entire time.
Yeah, exactly, and be like, wow. Yeah, it's a good vibe. It's a good energy. It's we support it, and
we support it.
But no, they support us. This is the more important part. Ambient Dream Studios on Etsy. Please check them out.
Yes.
Buy some of their merch. Before we get too deep in the weeds again, I want to mention that I have a book called Fluids that's out. You can buy. People know.
Yes. And I'd also like to take this moment to apologize to our sponsors that it's taken us a little bit to get back into making content.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back, baby. Ads
are
back.
back. We're in strength.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to reduce the amount of jump cuts from brutal IRL killings to ad breaks, but no promises.
No promises anymore. But yeah, if you would like to support the podcast, we are looking for we could probably take on one more sponsor.
Yeah.
And just general support over at patreon.com/excrement. That's where you can find us. And please consider doing so as Maya, for instance, needs money for
spend money on
estrogen. Yeah, fair enough. Now,
give me the tits.
They're coming. Watch out. They'll be there, and then you'll be like, "Oh no, I can't go to work ever again." It's great. Anyway, so also I wanted to mention I have a new record coming out on Halloween this year called My Dead Neopets. You've probably been hearing about it a bunch, but go check it out. I'm on Spotify. I just put out an EP called Stacy you can check out. But yeah, I'm on Spotify. Just look up Maley. It's almost to 1,000 active listeners this week, which is a lot of listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Touring, it turns out, good idea for my musical prowess. So now that we're done talking at length about ourselves and the people who support us, we got to get back to this podcast.
To come and see.
Yeah, come and see these nuts.
Behold, I saw. I can't remember the Bible verse. Fuck, my phone's off.
Behold, I saw D's nuts.
I saw an angel, and he poured out or no, I think it's about the angel. I think it's about the angel of death, where it's like, behold, we saw like a pale rider on a black horse.
Oh yeah,
and he rode out and said, "Come and see," or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and like I know that's where the title comes from, but also just as an urging, just as a sentiment, come and see.
Right.
I feel is like just as a sentiment, exactly what I'm always trying to tell people is just like, no, like if this is what you're saying, and if this is how you feel, and this is what you believe, come and see.
Well, so like the pale rider on the black horse, that's like death, right?
Right.
And so the whole bit is he's like, this is what this is what the Book of Apocalypse is about.
Yeah.
Or Book of Revelations. I mean, it's like this is a literal apocalyptic devastation.
Yeah.
Which is like fair. Well, and also like I was doing some research on him, and like the director would read autobiographical accounts. Like he would read accounts of people who were like fleeing Belarus. I think the book he was reading from is called like Out of the Fire.
Yeah.
But he would read these accounts to the extras as like, hey, this is what you are thinking. Like this is what you need to have going through your mind as you're an extra in these scenes. Like this is your character inspiration. Like someone who saw their family murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrote about it. And then he also like the scene in the bog where the scene where he's like dragging the girl through the bog.
Yeah. That's
autobiographical to the director. Like that scene is based on his experiences fleeing Stalingrad from the Nazis. Like,
yeah.
Fuck.
Fuck indeed.
Fuck.
Yeah. So like there's an element of like I feel,
or was it Leningrad? Anyway, one of the grads.
I feel strongly that like the best things to talk about, generally, the most important things to talk about are usually the things that people are the most terrified to talk about. You know, so like people will make art about their traumas, but they won't make it about the intricacies of their traumas, and they definitely will never paint themselves to be at all at play in that situation whatsoever. So it's difficult, yet very like it's good and helpful for people to address traumatic existence, but do so in a way that's so like on its face, like this is how it actually really was. Like really try to just recreate the scenario completely,
right?
And not necessarily as like a I don't know. It's weird because like a lot of people do this thing where they're like, I don't like movies with ideology. I don't like stories that have ideology, not realizing that everything has ideology.
Yeah.
But they don't like things that generate sympathy. They like things that generate empathy and honesty. And so I feel like Come and See is very much a movie that forces you as a viewer to join in and get in there and see it and feel it yourself and like really participate. Whereas most stuff of this ilk will paint a hyper perfect dramatic like version of the same thing, and it won't in any way speak truth. But I think that the reason that Come and See has this reputation, I think, is mostly just because it really is prioritizing speaking truth. And so there's not really much to say other than that. It's just there's a lot of war movies, and most of them are I'm going to call them dick-sucking horseshit. Like,
yeah.
I watched American Sniper. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord. Like, you want to talk about a movie that's just, like, over-dramatizing actual events without ever at any point criticizing the root causes.
Yeah.
And yet, like, Come and See is whatever the antithesis of that is.
Right. Well, and I also love it because I like Russian perspectives in World War II because all of the American and Western perspectives of the Eastern Front came from the Nazis, and I resent believing any Nazi takes about anything, including the war they fought in.
Yeah.
So they can go eat a dick, and their accounts of the Eastern Front can go eat a dick, because it's like, you read what the Nazis said. Nazis like, oh yeah, like all the Soviets were like subhuman imbeciles, and they only fought because a commissar was standing behind them with a gun to their heads. Right. And then everyone in the West went, yeah, that sounds right. And then you like listen to the Soviet, like you read the journals of like troops and officers and privates, and it's like, yeah, like we just like walked past where like a barn with 160 burned women and children in it. Like the Nazis aren't taking prisoners, and they're like a 3 days march from my family. So if I don't run at this machine gun nest with my bare fucking hands, they're gonna do this to my family. And like there's these accounts of like a Russian Panzer division will kill a anti-tank emplacement to the man. They'll just kill every single person there, and then the guns will light up again, and the Panzers will be going like, what the fuck? So they'll have to kill everyone in these anti-tank emplacements again. And they roll up, and they find that like the women have like dragged the corpses of their husbands off the gun so they can shoot at the Nazis. Yeah, like it's like, fuck. Like, that's just not something you get when you read like the fucking Kesselring. Was that the dick ass whatever fucking big Nazi autobiography? Because like the Nazis are like, I'm gonna write autobiographies about how great of a general I am so I can get a job at NATO. Like
Operation Paperclip, baby.
Yeah, you don't look up the second director of the UN. Don't look up don't look up who led NATO after I think Eisenhower's the first person leading NATO, and I think the second one was a Nazi.
Oh, perfect. Good. Well, and
it's not ideal.
The other night I was watching Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which a lot of people have more modern opinions on nowadays. Mm-hmm. The ending is very bad. It's also, people are always like, it's deeply transphobic, which is I feel like it's only 50-50, because like you have to understand that depictions of trans people was just like not a thing until like in that sense that mainstreamed it, but it mainstreamed it as a criminal thing, which is very spooky, like a sexual deviation, but it tries to not be like it's a sexual deviation. They were like, it's a mental thing, and so it's fucking all over the place. But the point is, during this time, Hollywood was, around this time, there was the Hollywood Hays Code, and not enough is ever said about the Hays Code. But one of the big things about the Hays Code that I learned was that Warner Brothers at one point was trying to make this movie that was about how Nazis had done some problems. Mm-hmm. And the Hays Code has a little addendum in it that says that no film can at any point criticize a country that we're trying to have a decent relationship with. Mm-hmm. So they openly censored every time any filmmaker was like, hey, I think we should be worried about the Nazis, which is why there aren't any.
Well, that's why Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator was such a big deal, because he'd been trying to make it for literal years. Like he'd been funding it himself because he couldn't find anyone to help him produce it. So he was like mostly just doing it by himself. And like Hollywood spent so much resources trying to like
stop him,
trying to like snuff the film out.
Yeah, because but then the moment Lord knows we don't want to damage the relationship with the Nazis.
The moment World War II started, everyone's like, "Oh shit! What do you need, Charlie? Like, what do
you need?
What do you need to finish the movie?"
Yeah. Well, and the weird thing too is that there's this big legacy of. So Birth of a Nation in the United States, right? So it's like we know that in their mind was what film was supposed to be, and they were trying to reinforce this idea that Birth of a Nation was actually the way that cinema was meant to progress, which is very spooky. But it's worth also mentioning that prior to that, they were there was a lot of like buzz for the importance of German Expressionism, which is not to say that German Expressionism is not a great art movement. It is a great art movement, especially visually, but it's also worth mentioning that no one ever, for some reason, asks the question, like, you know, how much of this stuff is actually like secretly anti-Semitic or secretly pro-fascist.
Yeah.
And
we're not even secretly, just plainly.
Well, yeah, and then you've got a movie like Metropolis, which everybody's like, "Ooh, fuck that," nowadays, which is really stupid because Metropolis is great, but Metropolis is like, yeah, worker culture is like capitalist worker culture is literal hell shit, and I don't necessarily know if the filmmaker was like 100% being like, yeah, but a lot of it is like inspired by Karl Marx ideas, like, which is, I think this is another thing where when people talk about communism, they're always like Karl Marx, and it's like, well, raise your hand if you know a flesh and blood, old school communist. Probably not very many. There are people that self-identify as communists, but their version of communism is something that has completely reworked itself through millions of different people talking about it. So people always think that all these ideas come back to the Communist Manifesto and like fucking Karl Marx. Not necessarily true anymore.
Right. Well, in like the early or late 18th century into the early 20th century.
Yeah.
Is like just economically is an incredibly different world from
where we are now.
So like while a lot of Marx takes can be carried over, there's also a lot of shit Marx talked about that just doesn't work because
it just doesn't have a one-to-one.
Because like it's hard to have a one-to-one when like your primary audience goes from like disenfranchised steel workers to like baristas. And I'm not trying to like disparage baristas, but like just the nature of labor has changed so significantly that there's just some aspects that don't apply, like don't translate very well.
Well, and there's this big thing that people do nowadays where they're like, no, I mean, it's not like I work in a factory, I have a fun job.
Yeah.
I like my job. It's fun. Mm-hmm. I have a fun job. And it's like, hot take, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, you can enjoy yourself while you're at work, but that doesn't necessarily mean that work is enjoyable.
Great. Well, or even if you are enjoying yourself, that they're using that to exploit you. Like
exactly.
Like that is
you're still being exploited, and being exploited fucking sucks, and it's demoralizing.
Yeah, it's nice that the capitalists are using the good bait on the hook, but it's still bait on the hook.
Exactly. And so I don't know, that's worth mentioning, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, well you're an internet person. That, you've got a good job." And it's like, if you only knew how many fucking stupid things I have to deal with on a constant basis because of that, and how frequently I'm like, I should just get a day job. I do think I've thought this for a long ass time where I'm like, I should just get a fucking day job. Like, I'm so tired of this. And then the idea of me getting a day job is equally horrifying. And then I come up with this idea where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to work. And then I decide I'm going to not work and just die, and then work finds me, and I'm like, well, we're back.
Well,
so I don't know, this idea that like work is fun and that being a slave to capitalism is fun is like a very uniquely American fascist idea, but anyway, we kind of got really off the rails here, but more or less I think we're trying to talk about misconceptions and also come and see. And the reality is, we don't really, even if we're baristas and we're being exploited, understand that we don't know the plight of the people who have it the worst in capitalism. We don't. And
yeah, until you're digging out Elon Musk's cobalt.
Yeah, exactly. Until you're the person in the car that dies when he tests his space truck. It was on autopilot. He's holding a remote,
sharp
like an RC car,
just decapitates some pedestrian.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "Yeah, it was not my fault." But anyway, so all of that is all of that, and Hopefully you can make sense of the things we're talking about because Lord knows I can't. Now, come and see. Good, shit, or mid?
Good.
Or gold. I forgot. We're really bad at this game. Gold, shit,
I'm not
or mid?
bad at the game. I'm drunk at the game.
I'm drunk at the game. Yeah, no. I'm gonna go gold too. It's classic for me. I think that it's one of those movies that everybody needs to see, probably.
Yeah. I think definitely before you try to explain your take about war to me on Twitter.
Oh, 100%. Like, well, and to go even further,
or before you try to explain your take about World War II to me.
Yeah. Well, and so to go even slightly further, I think not only should you watch Come and See, but I think that you should watch it in a private setting alone. Yeah. I think that it should be a private viewing, and you need to really cope with what they're trying to say.
Right.
Because it's something that and I and Maya and everyone, we're going to be dealing with this for the rest of our lives. Like, we're going to be dealing with the realities of this kind of shit for the rest of our lives. And, like, it's cathartic as fuck to just like weep openly about that. And also like the fact that we made a podcast about it is kind of like weird because I don't even feel like it's a movie that necessarily needs to be talked about other than just like you need to watch it. Don't say anything to anyone else about it. Just tell people to watch it.
Yeah. Like, and that's why we didn't go into a lot of what happens.
The details. Because, like, just it's a private experience.
Yes.
I think it should be viewed as
a very
such.
Intimate movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because like the entire movie is people, like most of the movie is people making eye contact, like fourth wall, staring into not like past your eyes, but into your soul and being like, I am traumatically fucked up. Because of the circumstances of what's happening.
And you watch people get fucked up.
Yes.
You watch, and not like violently, but like you watch people get the PTSD. You see it happen. Like you see the shift in the person's face over the movie.
Moment in the film is when he goes back to his village and you see the dolls on the ground and he looks at the dolls on the ground and he moves on.
Yeah.
And then the girl comes in and looks at the dolls and is flabbergasted and in shock about it. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, the food's still hot. Do. And then she's like, look. And then he looks and it's like all flies and it's very obviously like the bodies of his family. But they're just dolls on the floor and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, he just doesn't see them as people anymore. Yeah.
He sees dolls covered in flies instead of his mother and sisters.
Well, and like, to be honest with you, that in and of itself is PTSD. Yeah. Given that I've watched all these gore videos, that is a way that I unfortunately see things now, where I just like, well, there goes another guy, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's basically been a podcast. I'm gonna leave. I'm going to
You saw.
D's nuts. No, so I'm going to Denver to watch a screening of The Beyond right now. The Lucio Fulci movie. It's gonna be nasty.
I'm gonna go determine whether I should deal with my family or not.
Well, so you can turn on your phone, get a general vibe on the reaction, and then just turn it back off and then process.
That's fair.
But I don't think you necessarily need to engage it until you personally have got yourself in that spot where you're like, I'm ready for that.
If I like what I see, I might engage. But if I don't like what I see,
I might engage.
What is that?
More whiskey.
What is that dumb COD line where it's like Bravo 6 going doc?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know your phone isn't on, so message me on Discord with like updates. Let me know how things are going, especially if you need me because I'm gonna be out of town. But.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if I'm gonna be sober enough to put this out the day we record this. So, this will all be old news by the time y'all listen to me talk about this.
Yeah.
But
well, and so just to cap it off, we are all going to die. War is constant and bad, and it will be in the remainder of our lives. If you're not living your life exactly how you want to, what are you doing?
Economists predict that in the next 30 to 50 years, 3 million people are gonna die. So. Get on living,
dude. You gotta get to the place.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
No one's gonna force you. No one's gonna tell you you've got to live your life or they're gonna kill you. but at the same time, I don't think people have a tendency to realize the stakes, and they're much higher than they look. Anyway, all right. Have a good podcast. Oh, wait, we just had a good podcast.
We just did.
You have a good day. We'll have a good podcast. Okay, goodbye now.
Peace.